This is a game as a service, and its primary purpose is to take money from you. Let's just be honest. The microtransactions in this game are gold. Hi everybody, and welcome to High Scores, High Stakes Game of the Month Club for September 2025.
Hello.
Bonjour. There's Cardinal's here.
Tomahawk's here too.
Oh, that's true. Look at us doing a Game of the Month with all three of us now, but this is probably because this is a Game of the Month that Cardinal Smith picked. Is so excited to play.
Cardinal picked it. He demanded it. He threatened to quit and everything if we didn't. We're like, fine.
3 years too late. That's what this Game of the Month is.
We were like, fine, we'll do Gran Turismo then, for God's sake. Should just let
Spoiler alert, it's Gran Turismo 7, guys.
They know, we have announced it. We announced these things now, Tomahawk.
You know, if it's your first episode, you just pick this up. I'm a big Gran Turismo nerd. I'm going to pick up Spotify, search Gran Turismo 7. What's this podcast? I've never heard of it.
I mean,
well, anyway, Luvva, who are you hosting with tonight?
I am hosting with my co-hosts, Cardinal Smith and Tomahawk, who have both amply notified us of their presence. They've gone off on one here, folks. The excitement is palpable. Cardinal Smith can't resist talking about Gran Turismo. He can't wait to talk about cars, racing, and this stylish top that he's wearing for audio listeners. He is wearing an Aston Martin racing shirt. I don't know from what year, and I could ask him, but I'm not going to.
It doesn't matter. It's just for
purely for the video watchers.
Aura, the vibe.
I mean, I'm surprised.
I did fully expect him to be in like a full Stig race helmet, get up and just be like, I'm communicating via satellite.
I kind of expected him to show up with the Fantech steering wheel in his racing cockpit, just podcasting from it. I'm kind of disappointed, but I'm not too disappointed, Cardinal, because we're here to talk Game of the Month. This is September, the 9th month of the year, and do you know what number of Game of the Month this is for this year? Number 9. That rejig of the schedule has worked dividends or paid off really, really poorly, depending on how you feel about these episodes. I mean, you tell us in the comments.
We love it.
We love it. It gives us a chance to sit down, play games together, and then come back and talk about them. And that's what Game of the Month Club is where we pick a game, play it for the month, and then come back here and deep dive review it. We talk about everything to do with this game. We probably not going to be able to cover everything in Gran Turismo 7, and that is because Gran Turismo 7 is quite an abstract game. But before we talk about the game, let's talk about what High Scores, High Stakes is. High Scores, High Stakes Win a Season is a competitive PlayStation podcast where us three compete against one another in a PlayStation gaming league table. Every week we pick a game and play a challenge in that game. Winner gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point. Whoever is top of the league at the end of the season, which is 12 weeks, wins the coveted High Scores, High Stakes Cup. We just finished Season 5, gentlemen.
Good.
So we did. So we're now in our side quest where we talk all things gaming, all things PlayStation. And the last Monday of the month, which is today, we do this. We do this. I'm not going to tell you who the champion is in Season 5 because it's still too fresh. I think you have to watch that finale and find out who won the cup. That doesn't exist. It's a metaphorical cup. Schrodinger's cup. It exists.
Schrodinger's cup.
If the cup doesn't exist, the champion can't be crowned. So...
The open top bus for Belfast has been booked, gentlemen.
But who is going to be manning it?
Who's it for? Find out next Sunday in Belfast City. No. But let's not waste any more time because this is the latest we have recorded since like Season 2. It is very late. I'm quite tired, but I want to talk Gran Turismo 7. Before we get into the review of the game, we always start these things by talking about our histories with the game. And we're going to start with the person who I presume has the least to say. That is Tomahawk. So Tomahawk, tell me your history with the Gran Turismo franchise. A 100 million selling franchise.
100 million selling. That, I mean, we all watched the PlayStation State of Play, and that was the first big announcement for it. And look at us. They did a big announcement. They're doing a big update, and we're doing a Game of the Month on it. Now, we are accidentally falling upwards with some of these games of the month now. But my history with the franchise was the Platinum Edition of Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. on the PlayStation 2. And then fast forward all the way to GT7.
That's it.
That is pretty much it. One of those ones, I think at the time when I was playing it, it was like that or Need for Speed. And
Okay.
it was like, I think Need for Speed just kind of took over. And now in my sage old age in my mid 30s, I can sit back with a real life driving simulator and kind of have a greater appreciation for it now. So what I have been playing, I have been really, really enjoying of GT.
So what I've heard was one moment you were listening to Feeder Just Today, the next you're listening to Vroom 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 by Idris Elba.
Pretty
what
much.
a downgrade, man. Life is just not the same. Cardinal, I know you have more to say than just
Save the segment.
GT3 A spec. Save this segment.
If I have to think back, I think my experience of Gran Turismo started when Gran Turismo came out, and that blew me away. It was like you had your own sandbox racing career, and you could spend teeny amounts of money to try and get better and beat some people in the Sunday Cup, to the point where if you had way too much money, you could soup up a Mazda Demio, which you acquired by winning the Sunday Cup, to have like decals and racing look all over it applied. That's where I fell in love with Gran Turismo. And I've played every Gran Turismo game.
Okay.
I think.
Fab. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you did. It's like map games, racing sim games. Cardinal Smith back to like converged.
Yeah, but the reason my voice goes high pitched is because you get Gran Turismo 1, 2, and then there's like 3 A spec, and there's like sports modes and games in there. But yeah, I've played them all.
Yeah, I mean, I would count all the GT3s. Like, I count A spec as just like the definitive edition. It was just DLC before DLC existed, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I wouldn't count the prologues because they're literal demos that you paid £15 for, if memory serves me right. There was GT3 prologue. I wouldn't count that.
I know. Those seem like weird releases, even at the time. Never mind in hindsight.
Yeah. And the modern day sensibilities, A-Spec makes a lot of sense. It is DLC. They fixed the bugs and added more stuff and then just released the game again.
That's like a repackaged kind of thing then.
Patches before patches, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the way I view it. My history is like yours, Cardinal. When I was at school, Gran Turismo was the new hotness. Everyone played Gran Turismo, and I mean everyone played it. It was banging. The Demio, just when you said it, was like that was everyone's first car in GT, right?
Yeah. And now that you just mentioned school, I remember I brought the PlayStation in one day to school, and we just had the whole science class playing Gran Turismo, like just on split screen.
Most of these stories of Cardinal Smith at school always seems to be bonking off school to go play video games, and now we're suddenly bringing video games into school.
That was the deal with the principal. Just stop skipping school. Bring the games in. Just get in, please. You're going to feel your A levels.
Tactical espionage means Cardinal gets to go home. Racing simulators means Cardinal has to come in.
When the exams are already done or in progress, and there's no more, there's nothing to teach.
Okay, this wasn't just like October time. We just thought, I don't need to learn anymore.
My educational career is over in October. I'm done. But yes, I played Gran Turismo 1 a lot. I played Gran Turismo 2 even more because Gran Turismo 2 was amazing.
Incredible.
Absolutely amazing. Gran Turismo 3, obviously. Everyone owned Gran Turismo 3, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I played. I think I might have played 4. Definitely didn't play 5. But I did play Gran Turismo PSP, which was wild. 4 cars on the track. That was it. It wasn't great. It was a really good racing game for the PSP, but was it a good racing game? No, it was not. But I had full GT mode, and then that was me until you made me buy Sport. on the PlayStation 4. You're like, Sport's really good. Love it. You should buy it. And I did. And I really, really, really enjoyed Sport. Sport was brilliant. Underrated on the PlayStation 4. And then, yeah, GT7. I've put far too much time in GT7. Far too much time in it.
Yeah,
That is,
GT7's a funny one because like I got it as a tax deductible option for the podcast, probably. And when I do play it, I put time into it, and then obviously it's 130 gig. That's the sort of
yeah.
caveat on that one. It is a chunky game.
Yeah,
But I
it
can
takes
see
up.
why. We're going to talk about why it's such a chunky game. But it's one of those games that when you're into it, you kind of just are getting incrementally better as you acquire just your little tiny amounts of cash for big purchase items. Like,
And that is a problem. You know, if you're a casual regular Tomahawk and you play 5 games at once, you know, in quick succession, you know, 120 gig is going to limit all your repeat playthroughs of The Last of Us,
Exactly.
Last of Us 2, Last of Us 2 Remastered.
chronological edition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. This is a good game. This is a good game. Without spoiling it too much, I really like GT7. But let's not beat around the bush anymore. As I said, it's very, very, very late on. So let's talk about Gran Turismo 7. Gran Turismo 7, believe it or not, originally released on the PlayStation 4 and 5 on the 4th of March 2022, which is a long old time ago, a different world. But let's get
Yes.
into reviewing this game. Let's go. Okay, let's talk Gran Turismo 7. Let's deep dive this game. I think we always start with the good aspects of these games and these things. So let's start with the good stuff because there is a lot of good in Gran Turismo 7. So I'm just going to follow the notes I've made because we believe it or not, we do make notes in these things.
We prep. We do prep.
Why-
We're not scripted, but we do research. So the first thing I want to talk about is Gran Turismo 7's graphics, because this is probably, for my money, the best looking sim racer on the market.
Yes. No, I would fully agree with that. I mean, we played Ride 5 in one of our season challenges. I still think that I would argue that is a great looking game. This one is just next level, even beyond that then. I think even we were talking about like the silly bits in the game that they've really took the time to think about is like even the auto, just as you're going into like auto drive in some of the levels, one of the levels are the courses I was driving. The way that the light hits the Renault badge on my car was like reflecting back at me and nearly giving me like lens flare and putting me off just as this, like, man, so good. Those details.
Yeah. Let's talk about the replays. The replays and those little sort of transitions between the course loading and you starting to drive. Everything in this game that isn't racing, where you're in direct control of the car, has full ray tracing, and it looks utterly, utterly, utterly incredible in the PlayStation 5. This is one of the few games on PlayStation 5, I think, renders at a native 4K resolution. There's no upscaling here at all.
Right.
And it really, really, really shows in those, like the replay mode in particular. When I think about the graphics of this game, I think about replay mode. Replay mode looks it looks real. There's times in it where it looks real. The lighting, the ray tracing, the car models, the track, the way the track is modeled. I think I remember watching somewhere that they drove like a mapping car around all the real life courses, mapped out the course in like 3D, and then they take all that information, put it into Gran Turismo, and then model it. So this is apparently as close to real life as you can get.
Yeah.
And it shows, because the Nürburgring, for example, all of the graffiti on the track in the third sector, fourth sector, there's like all this graffiti, and the graffiti is accurate to the graffiti that was there when they drove that car around. It is just the amount of detail polyphony have put into this game is it's astounding how good this game looks.
It is incredible, and it is sometimes you mentioned at the start. is it the best looking sim racer out there? And that is the start of another conversation where people don't want to call this a sim racer, partly because it's on PlayStation,
Yeah.
but it is. It is. You could pick up a set of Corsa Competizione, and it's a beautiful looking game, and it's a hardcore, real driving, realism racing experience. But Gran Turismo is it's a simcade. I don't think so. I think it's far more of a simulation than the. I don't know what else to say. Forza Horizons of the world. The graphics, however, the detail they put in, I remember when the discourse was happening online between Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo. It's any Xbox v PlayStation situation where they just pick and choose and battle one another, and it's usually you lose a couple of brain cells by reading those threads.
You do.
But the detail that Polyphony put into every car model, if you pause or look at the game or go into and zoom into the car, you'll see details of the headlights underneath the actual lights to model the exact car, or details that hold on the number plate. It's just ridiculous levels of details. When you put on the VR headset, you could sit in the car, and I could drive my actual real life car, and everything's there where it should be. It just looks the same as my other car, except the steering wheel's on the other side. But apart from that,
but like it's to say they put that detail in across the entire library and every car that they have. It's like it's not like to say what it would be like for the best example I have is FIFA, where they get like the top tier players, and they had like to a point they had them to their likeness to the T, and then but they got to the mid tier players, they just kind of went, here's what we think they look like.
Yeah, even
with this, every car is true to life, basically.
Yeah, this game I think has 500 cars in it, and as you say, every single one of them is rendered with the same detail. I think, was it Gran Turismo 6 Cardinal, where they had legacy cars, where the cars that were built specifically for Gran Turismo 6 were rendered ridiculously high quality, but you had these legacy cars that came from Gran Turismo 4, and they looked like Gran Turismo 4 cars.
Class.
Where there was like a clear distinction between the level of render and detail. Yeah. So they've really went overboard with these things. Like, they've rendered things you're never going to see in the game. Like, you go into, is it scenic mode or garage mode, where you can open the car doors and all this here sort of business, where they've rendered things that you're never going to see. But
not specific to the game,
but they just wanted to render these cars as accurately as possible, and they have done an absolutely stand-up job, because the car models are just... Some of them are just... all of them are unbelievable, but the ones you recognize from real life, you can see everything, and the cockpits and of everything, the interiors and the seats, if they're leather seats, for example, you can see the stitching in the seats, you can see the stitching around the gear stick.
That's
you can
definitely
see
like
everything.
a VR thing, though. I think that's definitely something that they've probably done to accommodate for the VR users of GT, because I'd imagine there are a lot.
I doubt it. There's a lot. This has been a thing in racing simulators, especially Gran Turismo, since like Gran Turismo on the PlayStation 5, where you've been able just to sit in the cars and just appreciate the cars. The whole sort of ethos behind Gran Turismo just seems to be an appreciation for the artistry of car design and engineering, and there's a real sense of reverence, especially in Gran Turismo 7. Gran Turismo 7 seems to be really
especially in Gran
reverent.
Turismo 7.
Yeah, because, and it's like the reverence not just to modern day cars, because Gran Turismo 7 has a lot of stuff, but it doesn't have a lot of like cars from the 2020s. But the opening cinematic of it is racing throughout time.
Yeah, it's like the history of motor racing. Yeah, I remember that. I don't want to say an unskippable cutscene, but sometimes sometimes you're just watching it and going, "Oh, that is like," you just go on that journey basically, and you just forget to.
I think the first time you put the game, it is unskippable.
It is absolutely unskippable first time, as is the music rally it sends you through.
No, yes. I forgot about Music Rally. I'll need to add that to my notes. But no, the
Everyone
graphics in this
does.
game, like, but going beyond just the car models, the trackside details are just crazy. Like, there's grandstands with fans on. The fans are all, now, not to a particularly amazing quality, but there's individual people who have all been rendered, and you can see when the race is starting, if you're doing like an online race, whatever, you can see like the pit crews and the pit lanes. You can see people milling around and walking around, and it's just all very immersive, and it looks incredible. Some of the real life tracks in this game just look utterly insane. I remember way back when, the year 2000, 2001, I was playing Ferrari F355 Challenge on the Sega Dreamcast. And
Nice.
that had about 3 courses. And I remember Suzuka was one of them. And I remember playing this game and going, video games are never going to look better than this. And it was an incredible looking game. Suzuka and Gran Turismo 7 makes that Ferrari 355 Challenge Suzuka look like hand drawn.
I think
it's
the longer
crazy.
we go through high scores, high stakes, I'm starting to realize that Luvva makes a lot of sweeping declarations about games at that moment in his lifespan where he just goes, it'll never get better than this.
Tom's too young to remember the graphical leaps between the earlier generation of consoles. They were
the more
huge.
you say it, though, the more it waters down the statement, is all I'm saying.
One thing to back up what Love is saying, I can't speak for Ferrari F35 Challenge and its 4 tracks, but driving around Barcelona track, Mrs. Cardinal was able to see she was able to look around at the point and just see the point where she, like a hill she had sat on back in like 2000 and some year that she was there, and there it was as it was, and it was just the detail was there and accurate. It's ridiculous.
Felt like, I lived there. I had been there, and I have interacted with this on a human level as well. Yeah, that's quite cool.
Yeah, it's just a ridiculous looking game, and I think when you can set times of days for each of the races you're doing, and you can set weather conditions, and the time of day and the weather conditions change totally how each of these tracks look, and the saturation levels of the light that's coming in. Like when you're racing, the light is all pre-baked. There's nothing particularly special going on in the hood, but it's really, really, really effective. When you pick a bright, clear, sunny day, and you're driving through the Nürburgring at the trees, the light will stream through the branches, through the leaves, and then when you have a gap in the tree, it will blind you a little bit. When you come out of tunnels, there's that saturation level. It just goes poof, and for a split second, you're blind effectively until your eyes adjust to this new level of light. It's just an incredible looking game. I always think of Deep Forest Trail, whatever that track's called. You're driving through the tunnel that on PlayStation 1 was carved into the side of a mountain, where there's one that has pillars and you can see the outside as you're driving through the tunnel, but as you drive past that, the light is streaming in through the gaps, and it's incredible. It is incredible. And then when you pick the dull, sort of the saturation of the colors dulls right down. It's all very, very, very effective. And then when the weather conditions start coming in, so when you start a race, there's a weather map, and you can see bad weather coming in, and it will get announced. This is just going to rain on lap 6, depending on how fast you go, and then the rain comes, and the weather effects in this game are incredible.
Yeah,
I haven't seen rain in a racing game as good as Gran Turismo's since Drive Club.
I will say this is another aspect of Gran Turismo 7 where they've almost gone way overboard than they needed to, because they programmed their own system of weather, as in they've recreated weather within the game. It's never scripted, and every time you play, it tries to recreate what the weather might behave like in that part of the world at that time of year.
That's cool. Yeah.
And in the cloud cover and how much rain comes along and where it affects the track, it might not affect the entire track. Or the one part of the track might be much wetter than the other.
Who can't forget that amazing trailer for we've programmed the clouds moving in a realistic
Yeah.
fashion. Remember that? But no, the rain effects in this are outstandingly good. I remember first time playing Drive Club, and it rained, and it was just spectacular looking. This one is on par with Drive Club's rain. People who've played Drive Club know exactly what I'm talking about, by the way. It had some of the best weather effects I've ever seen in a racing game. They were really, really, really that good. But no, Gran Turismo 7's weather effects, just like everything else in this game, they've went massively overboard with the incidental details that you're never going to see as you fly past at 100, 200 miles an hour. And there's like little things peppered throughout it with on the tracks to go back, just to cycle back to the tracks and talk about some of the crazy details that are on these tracks. On the American track, whose name escapes me, Carl, you might remember, but it's in a desert, and you come flying around like an S-bend to go down a hill to come around to your left-hand turn, and when you come around that corner, there's all these like hot air balloons like taking off, and there's some of them in the air, some of them taking off, some of them landing, and every time you do a lap of that track, they're in different positions. It's not they're not just static things. It's not like Ridge Racer where you come around that corner and your airplane flies over you the exact same way every single time. These things are flying for all intents and purposes.
They have their own like pathways and like life. It's not just like a pre-baked in, pre-rendered background. It's the same with like the weather effect. If you have a particularly long track, I found this playing like the missions on like the cafe mode sort of stuff, where if you're doing a particularly long track and it's early evening for all intents and purposes for like the day condition, and as you come towards the end of the track, it's like fully nighttime and the lights all come on and everything kind of has that lovely timer. And whereas a normal racer, probably from my experience, it's night or it's day. You don't get that in between phase happening in real time, and it's just like overboard, but the detailing is phenomenal.
It is overboard. And behind the scenes, there's also effect on the grip and the air temperature and the track temperature in the game, and how grippy the tires are going to be or how quick they wear as those changes from light to dark and it gets cooler and warmer.
It's cool that as well, because especially when we watched the state of play and they said, look, we're going to do new tracks, new cars, and a new way to like track data telemetry. And I'm like, stop. Like, you don't need to do this. But obviously, like, GT has this ultra fan base who are just all about the analytics. And I think the fact that they're so good with providing that and like in race stuff, it's not just a case of like, you know, like the F1 games where it's like, oh, maybe we want to slow down or something like that. No, this one is like, you are driving and this humidity and this current time of day is affecting your laps this way and your tire pressure and all that kind of stuff. It's so in depth.
Yeah. I've been watching videos from Gran Turismo sort of content creators. They're all very, very, very excited about this new telemetry stuff. They're like really excited. They're like, I can see exactly where I'm, missing those 0.002 of a second in order to fix my drive. They're really excited about it. So
and these aren't always accessible features for sim racing. Even on PC, you can pay a premium to have software that sits in behind whatever game you're using. It's not native to games. Even likes of iRacing or Assetto Corsa, or I don't know if
that's stuff that you have to get as like an accompaniment to it, not something that's embedded into the game. So
that's right. It's external vendors. It's people creating this on the back to sell to sim racers. So to have this in the game for Gran Turismo is crazy.
Because that update it did take me by surprise when they did say,
yes,
oh, we're doing more GT7 stuff. And I was like, but why? The game's I thought, in my opinion, the game was
3.5 years old.
And it's as complete as it's ever going to be, really. So it's cool that they still are putting this care and attention and in-depth attention to this game still.
Yeah, I think they have to justify why it took so long. I mean, people forget how long the gap is between Gran Turismo 6 and Gran Turismo 7. It was a decade, not including sport. But sport was literally...
like full titles, we'll say then.
Yeah, sport is a literal gaming mode. as good as sport was, it wasn't a Gran Turismo game. It was a racing simulator and nothing else. But since you've talked about things like air pressure and stuff, Cardinal, one of the things I want to talk about was physics. The physics engine in Gran Turismo. Let's talk about physics, all right? I have in block capitals written in my little notebook, everything matters, even the stuff you can't see and may not know about. So like air pressure, what part of the track people have driven on. There is, I've never seen this in a racing sim before. I know I don't play racing sims, but I've never seen a racing sim where there's a clean side of the track and a dirty side. And as soon as you go on that dirty side, you know you're on the dirty side because you can feel it. You can feel your pace dropping with every meter you travel on that side of the track. This game is frightening. It's just that the physics engine is just another thing that they went in a good way over the top on completely.
Oh yeah, this isn't like, because me and you Luvva did a few races, just picking whatever cars we did, picking just a few random tracks as well. This isn't something that you can just kind of fudge your way through and go, oh, I'm just gonna throw myself into a corner here and I'll just figure it out. I'll make it up somehow. No, if you're coming in,
yeah.
If you're coming in and oversteer or like understeering, you're going into careening into that barrier, and no manner of jank is like there's no jank in this. The game is you're gonna go straight into that barrier. And I think there was one time I managed to T-bone my way and it kind of broke the game. I T-boned into the side of Luvva and then just the car righted myself into the direction I needed to go.
Yeah.
I think offline gaming or just multiplayer with friends that's a legitimate way of stopping the car.
Yeah.
Using another car to slow yourself down.
If you don't have the braking distance and the person in front of you does,
use their braking distance.
It's called teamwork. Yeah.
But yes, the thing I want to talk about most when it comes to, there's two things I want to talk about when it comes to the physics. Number one, the actual driving physics. You can get granular in this game. You can go into your car settings and you can change every single aspect of your car. You can change individual tire pressures, gear ratios, the type of oil you're using. In fact, you have to change your oil in this game whenever your mileage hits a certain level.
Because it tracks the driving marathon, and then you have to go back to the garage to top your oil up and polish and wax and buff your doors and all that kind of good stuff.
Yes.
But your car loses performance over time. Like it will lose top end speed and acceleration power.
Yeah.
The more you drive it, and it's just mental. It's like, please. And you kind of, well, I don't want to get into it now, but it's like, my car, I want it to be perfect in my sim racing game.
Proud of it. Like, yeah. You get that sense of you've bought it, you've up-spec'd it, you've done everything to it. It's your child for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
But that's in harking back to owning cars and, a sort of loving portrayal of automobiles.
Yeah. And what I love most about this physics in this game is in other racing games I've played, even the semi ones, and I was a big fan of Forza back on the PS3 sort of era, where tire wear is literally a gauge on the screen, and you can see it going from green. As it drops, it goes to red, and it's like, you need to change your tires. Let's change our tires. And that was it. And then all it did was just basically refill a gauge on the screen. Gran Turismo 7 tire wear is actually tire wear. As you drive your car around the track, marbles of rubber will come off your wheels and spill to the ends of the track. And when you can feel yourself drive over them, your traction gets lost. There's just so much going on under the hood of this game. It is frightening. I love the little incidental details of when you're going to photo mode in your replays and you zoom in your car and you can see the individual marbles of rubber from tires, and it's just crazy. There's no requirement for anything like that, but it's here, and it's just deal with it. With it. And then on the other hand, you have the water effects from the rain, where rain will pull naturally in the track and they will form puddles, or they will just aquaplane. It's just a ridiculous amount of detail, which is the through thread of Gran Turismo 7. It is just obsessive levels of detail in this game on everything.
And that's manageable by you as well. The tire wear, because your style of driving, you can drive in a sense that will reduce that tire wear, as opposed to just you have done one lap. That gauge goes down by one lap.
Yeah. Yes.
It's, which is crazy. And I don't need to go into it, but it's an aspect of sim racing again. But
yeah, managing your car. If you're running out of fuel, but your strategy is you're coming in 2 laps, you're making that fuel last by driving smoother and maybe not as fast.
I think this is whenever I go and play this game, I very much am thinking about this in like old school style, where I'm just going to go, I'll just go and hit refill, or I'll do this. I kind of don't think about going into, or maybe I've driven for like 600 miles on these sets of tires. I maybe need to go and change them.
Yeah. I mean, all this stuff is great, and it does build in the mental stack, as they say in fighting games, the mental stack. You can turn all this off. Obviously,
100%.
Obviously, degradation will still happen. It just won't have an effect on your car at all. There'll still be a dirty side of the track and a clean side of the track. All this rain effects, you can turn off the rain. Well, you can't turn off the rain, but you can pick a clear sunny day where it's highly unlikely it's going to rain. In fact, there's some tracks in this, correct me if I'm wrong, there's tracks in this game where it will never rain, like the desert tracks. You will never get rain in those desert tracks because it doesn't typically rain in a desert and things like that.
That sounds fair.
It's just so good. Let's go into the gameplay here, because we're talking a lot of how it looks and all the physics and stuff. Let's talk about the racing. That's what this game's all about, the racing. Cardinal, I'm going to throw this to you. The racing in Gran Turismo. Talk about it.
Whether it's racing AI or sport mode with online people, very different things, but racing the AI is fun. No matter the category, we talked about it last night. Depending on the car and the speed and the type of car you choose, it's like a different race mode racing these different AIs. But there's always 15 other cars or so, mostly, and it can be chaos. I will say you can still use Tomahawk's legitimate tactic of using another car to stop yourself at the end of a long straight. But you earn it. You bought the car. You've earned that car. You've tricked it out if you need to get those extra tenths or seconds, and you leave those guys in the dust if you need to. But it's difficult. I don't think it's very forgiving. We talked about weather. That weather comes in the middle of a race, and you're like, what do I do?
Yeah, it's the whole reshift of your game plan.
Yeah. I've got 3 laps left, but it's absolutely chucking it down.
And I need slicks.
Yeah. I'm on slicks. It's like, and those guys are all like behind me. I'm going to, it throws everything up in the air again for the race. I don't know. If I could talk about sport modes, the multiplayer section.
Go for it.
So different beast. You have these scheduled races.
We were talking about this last night.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So you can't just jump into a lobby and race. Hey, 16 people are going to race each other. You have to wait till like 20 past 1, or there's like 2 races an hour.
I've seen these before. Yeah.
Yeah, and there'll be multiple lobbies or categories based on your ranking, essentially, your driver rating.
It's a track day meet, essentially, isn't it? It's like just a virtual track meet.
No. This is the sport mode. This is where you receive your driver rating is affected. Your safety rating is affected by how you perform and what your position is at the end of that race. And there's a practice session, a qualifying session, and then the race. And that is usually full. There's like a race A, B, and C. A is like simple time. There's no fuel, no tire wear. Fun,
Casual.
B is a bit less casual, and C, that is where all the sim racers hang out in race C. Where there is
that's where
full time.
Max Verstappen is. So.
Yeah. And the race might be like, 20 laps or something, could a bit longer. But what would you bring up? Luvva or Tomahawk?
The main thing I'm going to try and harken back to is the main track and the main purpose I got GT7 for was Tsukuba.
Sick. The
Man,
time trial.
like the thing is though, like we graft for games in challenges and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever grafted as much as I have for GT7 and felt such a reward for like, oh, I've actually like learned this. I've learned breaking points. I've learned like my perfect gear shifts. I've learned everything that there needs to be in this car on this track, and I felt like a god whenever it went right.
Yeah,
Like the highs are the highs are and the highs are there, and the lows are just they're low, man. Like when one thing goes wrong, when there's that tiny bit of oversteer and then that correction, and then you've like, right, I've lost half a second in that sector. It is when it becomes a steeplechase. I think like I sit there and just go, right, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then when you come back into that lap essentially as a hot lap, yeah, like the thrill of the chase kind of kicks in. Like, and I think it was just so gratifying when it works and when it's perfect.
And Tom, at the end of that time trial, when you hop out, it tells you the best sectors you had from each of your different laps.
Yeah.
And then it tells you could have had this lap if you put it all together in the one lap. And it's like,
your
you
optimum
son
everything.
of a...
Yeah, that's I love that feature, but it is a real kick in the teeth. And it's like, oh, you could have got 5 seconds off if only you did the first sector from your first lap, your second sector from the seventh lap, and you know the final sector. It's so annoying. But yeah, no, I really like the race in this game. I think the racing's superb. I think all the systems come together really nicely in Gran Turismo 7. I want to talk about two things. What is there and then what isn't, because what's here is really, really, really admirable. There is a single player campaign mode, but it is not a Gran Turismo single player mode, if that makes sense. Cardinal, you know what I'm talking about, right?
100%.
So what is here is you go to the cafe and you will get jobs from the cafe owner, and he'll go, oh, this is a Porsche. If you complete 3 races in a German car or on a German track, then I will tell you about Porsche. You want to learn about Porsche, right? And I'm like, well, not particularly.
I just want to race cars.
But you're going to give me 3 cars here, man. I want the 3 cars. And there is, I don't know, how many missions is there in the cafe menu mode?
Oh gosh, there's going to be about, I don't know.
It's a brief few.
It's quite a lot.
I've done quite a lot so far. Like that's been my playthrough. It's been like I'm learning about hot hatches in France, and now I'm learning about like saloon cars 50. In Germany.
Yes, I wanted to say 50. Now, the menu mode does a number of different things. It's the easiest and quickest way of building your car collection, and it does a really excellent job of every menu. You'll get 3 cars: a classic car, a like iconic car, and then a modern car, modern-ish. And they've all got different like power points and stuff like this here. So it sort of equips you to take part in the sport mode, which is, I would argue, probably the main mode in this game, the sport mode. But it also unlocks things. It allows you to do things within the game itself. So up until, I think it's like menu 34, you have no ability to sell a car in Gran Turismo because it must be unlocked by playing the menus. And the menu system, there's a lot to be admired about it. It gives you the history of the manufacturer or the history of whatever it might be, that in the nation or the region where these cars are made. And it is really, to be fair, I have zero interest in cars. I drive a car to get me from A to B, and then that's it. But I find all the wee stories that you get told after completing the menu really, really interesting, and that they're told like really nicely. It's all in text, but you get like these overviews of the cars. You might get like a little snippet of a video of a Porsche winning Le Mans in 1960, whatever, and all this here business. But it is really, really, really interesting. But the menu system quickly becomes a chore after, I think I dropped the menu at about 30 in, and I was like, I can't cope with this anymore. I don't want to have to do the Nürburgring at night in the rain and have to come first because I can't.
Yeah, it becomes a bit over cumbersome at some point. I think there was like, oh, here, we'll just go to a cafe, then we'll go to the race circuit. But now I need you to go here, and now I need you to go here. And then, like, obviously it opens up more of the map and more stuff to do. And then I think it took to, like, correct me if I'm wrong, whatever level it is to go, oh, you can actually unlock multiplayer. Did you know? You
Yeah.
don't have to just do time trials. And I'm like, why is this an unlockable feature?
Yeah, it's a tutorial for Gran Turismo. It teaches you everything about the game. Oh, go into sport mode now and play one race in sport mode, and then when you're finished, I'll talk you through how sport mode works and all here. You know, it's not a very interesting way of doing a tutorial, but it's a tutorial, and it is a bit more interesting than right trigger to accelerate, left trigger to brake, and all here business. It's an interesting game mode, and it's novel, and it is extremely Gran Turismo. Like, it really is.
It was a history lesson as well as like getting to drive and race cars.
Yeah. But it builds an appreciation for the cars that you now have in your collection. And there's when I got to the Porsche menu, I was like, I do like Porsches, and I was like, you know what? See that blue Porsche? It's special. I earned that at the cafe. I don't know why a cafe owner is giving us cars, but it is what it is. But no, the menu systems, the menu mode's fine, but it's not Gran Turismo mode. Where's the Sunday Cups?
Where are the Sunday Cups? And this could almost be a segue into the criticisms. But before we do, that challenge where it's set to cafe menu where it tells you to go to sport mode. My first sport mode race was where?
The Nürburgring.
Tsukuba Circuit.
Yay, there we
go. In Renault Clio's.
Class.
But the cafe menu, as you say, is not strictly a Gran Turismo single player game. It is like a series of appreciations for car types or car mechs or things you might do with a car. And it's one of the, I don't want to say it's a disappointment, but I too miss and have always missed just that feeling of your own journey of racing. Like, hey, I bought this Mazda MX-5 and I want to go race it at a local Sunday Cup or Clubman Cup.
Yeah, okay.
And I want to get that a trophy and get my Mazda Demio from it.
Yeah.
And that never happens. You just talk to some guy at a cafe in the middle of nowhere who's telling you, oh, did you know there's 6-valve, 2cc, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not a mechanic.
So what they've done, I feel as if they've took away like the kind of low tier racing, like that kind of Sunday, these Sunday Cups essentially, and they basically just went, but look at all these gorgeous, lovely, like world renowned.
But here's the thing:
have they just doubled down on that end? Then
here's the thing: no, they haven't. They have they have repurposed the old Gran Turismo modes. So Gran Turismo modes, I don't know if you would agree with me, Cardinal, here. To me, as a Gran Turismo player, I always felt like Gran Turismo mode was like an RPG. Yeah. Where it's yours, as you said, it's your story, it's your progression. You're going to start with a Demio, which is now in Gran Turismo 7, by the way. But you start with a Demio and you go through Sunday Cups, license tests, and then eventually you get to the McLaren F1s in the world and all this here business, and you yourself have gotten the skills to build from a mummobile to a supercar, and you could take as much time as you wanted with that, or as little time as you possibly could. I just felt the menu system was really good, and the thing I'll say about the menu system is there's license tests in this, but they're challenges. They are not skill checks to progress, which is a positive for the menu system. But I missed the work that went into getting those better cars. And
Right.
Gran Turismo 7 just seems to hand you those. They'll give you one slow car because they're old, a moderately powered car, and then this high powered variant with every menu. So you're getting 3 cars, but you're never going to go for the classic car unless the race you want to do is a PP limit, and that's the only car you have. But you're never going to drive a Demio or a Clio or anything like that. And that, for me, is what Gran Turismo was all about, starting with those cars and aiming for,
And
I
having
want
to
to buy a
graft and work
Ferrari.
for that. Yeah.
I wanna
No, I
buy-
remember that. I do remember that from playing like 3 as such, but these ones just hand you everything.
And I mean, there's a lot to
yeah.
be said for it. I get it. And, we live in a post-Fortnite world where it's instant gratification or nothing. And I get it. They want to get you into that sport mode. They want to get you in there competing, playing the game. And sport mode does a really good job of keeping you in there. I think I have something like 100 hours in this game over the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And I would say 75% of my playtime is in sport mode because they do a really good job of giving you daily challenges, weekly challenges, and they rotate them a lot. And there's always something to do in the sport mode. I just wish the GT mode was more like the old GT games where it was an RPG. It was my story, my progression,
Yeah.
working
And
our
you
way
earned
up.
those licenses, and you couldn't compete in those top
You're
tier
right, you
races
did.
because you didn't have that license, that internationally license to compete in a world championship of GT racing.
Yeah, and I get it. I do get it. I don't think the menu system's bad. It's just not captivating enough because it does take some time because they do start getting really, really, really difficult. Because your cars are underpowered or the track itself. If it's a Nürburgring, I shudder because I'm no good at the Nürburgring. I can never get a good lap in the Nürburgring at all. But no, I miss the old style Gran Turismo mode, and it's just not here. What they've put in, I can see the thought process behind it. I don't think it was a time thing. I think they generally thought this is better than GT mode, where there's no license test as hard stops.
One thing is, it's almost like a nostalgic hark back to what it was back in the early Gran Turismos. But the likes of Gran Turismo 5, I think it was, had all those different Sunday Cups and licenses and still had that your own narrative you were building to get up and work your way there. But the cars it rewarded you with for completing those championships were the exact car you needed to enter
the next
another
one.
championship. So it was completely linear and lost a bit of the magic from the earlier titles. So I don't know if they maybe felt like they needed to do something different or go into a hole there, but I do miss it. Can I say something else that I don't entirely enjoy or takes me out of the immersion of racing, such as the cafe menus, is the names above the other cars. So all the other all the other AI cars you race against are names of Gran Turismo sim racers who compete in the Gran Turismo World Championships every single race. So when you start out racing and you pick either a Toyota, essentially a Yaris, or one of the other cars, it's going to have these Gran Turismo 7 sim racers racing against you, but it's the same ones every race.
Yeah, it is.
No matter what category. And previously it was like, here's Santiago from Argentina, or just random, Jeff
Just
from
insert
Ireland.
generic name. Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I like that when you're playing online because if someone sideswipes you or whatever, you can see their name and you know who you're going after. You're like, okay, you're my nemesis for this race, and you build your own in-race storyline.
Oh no, I like that. I like that you see the names.
Yeah,
up here you're racing. I really enjoy that.
But just immersion break and being the same names all the time.
All the same names.
Yeah. I
don't really care about.
It wasn't something I noticed, to be fair. You see them when you overtake them, and you're like, "Oh, I've overtook you." But then, I wasn't aware that they were like actual GT sim racers.
Yeah,
Like,
pros,
so
yeah.
that's quite cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we need to talk about Sophie, right?
So the AI wasn't in at release. This is
No, it
something
was
they've
not.
worked on,
Yeah.
but it's like a new reactive AI based companion to race against with different levels. But so the idea is, Sophie, is it reacts to your skill and your ability in
Okay.
racecraft, and will just make it more and more difficult for you.
Just do, yeah.
But no, if you're aggressive, it will react aggressively. If you're, smooth and fast, it will. It's quite smarter in how they try and block you.
They'll be
They're not going to
smoother
like
and
veer in front
faster,
of
and
you,
yeah.
but they'll just, in the braking zone, they'll be like in the middle of the road or covering the inside line. They'll make it harder for you to overtake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things.
It's clever. It's just, it makes you sort of question how you're playing and learn to adapt in
It's
a way.
really
Yeah.
good. It's when they announced it, I thought was going to be like Forza Motorsports Drivatars. Is that what they call it? Where it recorded your driving data and then fed it into machine learning, and then you would appear in your friends' games, but it's not you. It's your
It's your
Drivatar,
driving style.
and it would take your style and do what it thinks you would do in that scenario and all serious sort of business. But it's not that. It's really good when when Sophie's present in the racing, because the AI are brutal. But it's not in every mode. So it's not in the menus unless you're playing one of the championships at the bottom of the screen. That's the only time Sophie's there. I would love Sophie to be always pulling the strings behind, because you can feel the difference.
Okay.
You know, in the menu system, the AI opponents will just follow their predetermined routes. They will react to you sometimes when they've no choice but to react to you. If you hit one in the back, it will get out your way. But up until contact, they don't seem to know that you're there. It's just classic Gran Turismo. They would just follow the racing line at various speeds, and just there are more obstacles. But when Sophie's there, it's brilliant. I just wish Sophie was always switched on for every game mode, rather than just a selection of courses or
higher stake
challenges. Yeah. But it's fantastic. Sophie is fantastic. It's, for my money, is it better than the Drivatar system? I don't know. I don't know. The Drivatar system on Forza is really, really, really good, but so Sophie. They're just very different to one another. There's machine learning going on all the time in both of them. They've just utilized machine learning two totally different ways, and they're good at some things and not so good at others. But overall, it's better than what the AI baked in is. I think that's the best way of talking about it. So
The one thing I will say is the emoji reactions above the cars is a bit goofy. That's another immersion thing for me. I just want to race. I don't want to see.
I blame that on Fortnite. You can't have a car doing the floss, but you can have emojis appear above them.
Just everything is like thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Or the angry face when
Every game has it
them off the
now.
road.
Like even Death Stranding has like an emoji system in it. Like, so it's everywhere currently.
Yeah, it's the Fortnitification of video games. It is everywhere.
I don't know if we've discussed this, and I think I harped about it when we were playing it the other night, and I harped about it in season 4 as well. Can we talk about the controller? Can we talk about the actual like haptic feedback on the controller as well? Because I feel as if that we were gonna like call it a day without that being brought up.
No, it's on my list.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
Like, absolutely. Like, I mean, I get with the steering wheel and the VR headset, that's how Cardinal wants to play it. That's and then the kickback on everything, like in a driving rig, gives you, the controller gives you as much real life or connection to that car and what you're doing as I've ever felt in any game.
Yeah, to play devil's advocate, Cardinal's steering wheel setup probably cost the same as what my car did. My real car. Like everything the controller does, the Fanatec does, only amped up probably to 100 because it's specifically designed for it.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you, Tom. The haptic feedback in that controller is incredible. Now, I also have a steering wheel My steering wheel is not Cardinals. It is awful. Well, it's not awful. It's a fine steering wheel, but it vibrates, but you can barely tell that it's vibrating, if that makes sense. The DualSense is a completely different beast. It does what you would expect it to, the tension and the triggers. What I love the most about it is you can feel everything on the track through the controller. When you're on the dirty side of the track, you can feel those little marbles of rubber. You can feel the slipstream because the tension spring just gets looser and you're in the slipstream.
Yeah.
And you can also, one thing I noticed, and I only noticed it when we were playing last night, was when I was racing the Ferrari at the end, we did the wee track day mode thing. The Ferrari's gear changes were very smooth, but in my Mini, they felt heavier and harder, if that makes sense. Just because in the triggers.
That's cool.
You could feel the difference in the gear changes, yeah. There's lots of stuff the controller does, but it's just, for me, I have it written down here, it's the best use of the DualSense on PlayStation 5.
It's so intuitive. Like, you get, like, as you say, everything that like debris in the track and stuff, you could feel it over the controller as well. Even when like you're hard into a corner and you're like braking but not gearing down, so the brake stops and like jolts you, and then like you can feel it,
the ABS,
giving and releasing, and you're like, So the controller is a good early warning system for me when I know that I've done something in the game that I shouldn't have.
Yeah, you've made a mistake when your controller's going crazy.
Panicking.
Yeah. You can also feel if you mistreat your tires and one side of your car tires are wearing quicker than the other, you'll start to feel the vibration on that side of the controller.
Yeah, and it kind of
just
like
a constant like low vibration saying you need to do something. There's something wrong here. It's just great.
That is nuts.
It is amazing.
So
I genuinely, I know Cardinal's face there. He's going to say Astrobot is the best use of the DualSense. I haven't played Astrobot.
I'm just sitting here thinking, here's two lads who haven't played Astrobot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've also enjoyed Gran Turismo 7 many hours on the DualSense.
Yeah.
To the point where I've got stick drift on one of my controllers.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I found out I had stick drift on Suzuka. Why am I turning left?
Constantly.
But no, the controller in it is just magnificent. And then just to leave this one behind, then the sound. Can we talk about the sound?
Oh, everything's great. Like, cause the one thing that's gonna come to my mind is when we were racing. I had my RS Clio, and you were racing with your souped up Mini, which I got to my first experience of. And I think I described it the best way I could think to describe it. It was like having a Resident Evil stalker perpetually like on my tail, because all you can hear is like the air intake. Exactly, just that. And it was like I'm looking at the timer on the lap placings as well, and I'm like, I'm 3 seconds behind, but that nearly sounds like you're just sitting on my shoulder, and I'm like, it's so good, and I'm like, that shouldn't be something I need to be hearing, but it's great, like environment, it's great world building. Like you think it's a racing game at the end of the day, what world building can you be doing? But no, it just adds to that like immersion,
the drama and the immersion of a race. Yeah.
That's when I knew you were so close. All I could hear was just that shh.
Yeah, just the turbo
ridiculous
charger.
Mini.
Just for
context. Go ahead, Luvva. You explain.
For context, the Mini Tom was talking about is I think it's a 1967 Mini that I have put racing like proper extreme parts in. It's a 500 pp Mini. It's got 4 gears. It has a flatline top speed of about 123. I think I topped it out at last night.
It's so good.
It's a ridiculous Mini. But no, the sound and that is just funny that you should say about the turbo and the wee Mini. It's just constantly, you can just hear the turbo whining constantly in this thing. It only has 4 gears. But it's one thing that Gran Turismo has always been sort of lambasted about is the engine sounds, and Gran Turismo always sound like hair dryers, and it's been true up until Sport. And I think when Forza Motorsport came out, I think it turned 7. Turned 7, is that what they're called? Turned 10. They did this thing where they went out to car manufacturers with microphones and they recorded the engine sounds from all around the car and then put that into the game. Gran Turismo seemed to have also started doing that because the engine sounds in this game are incredible. And when you have like headset on, you do get the full like Tempest audio, the 3D audio Sony put into the PlayStation 5 is incredible. You know when someone's behind you, you know what direction, you know what side of you they are on, and you can sort of take action to try to block them off or just try to hold your position. It's just the sound in this game is incredible. And I mean the in-game sounds, like the stadium sounds, you know, the sound of the road
rain.
surface, the rain, you know, it's just so much going on here. Like, you know, the rally tracks, you can hear the gravel under your tires just crunching away. You can feel it in the dual sense too. You forgot to say about that. The rain hitting your car, and every car sounds different depending on the materials they're made from. The electric vehicles in this game also sound incredible. They have that like haunting electric engine sound. The sound design in this is just, it's the best Gran Turismo's ever had, really. It's just an incredible sounding game.
The soundtrack as well is really good, like because it has this like beautiful mix of like the classic catalog and then like your licensed music. So Nothing But Thieves always comes to mind when I think GT7, and it's like, I can't think. Nothing But Thieves for me are very much like a gaming soundtrack band.
Yep,
they just seem to be peppered into like EA titles, and one of their titles ended up in GT7. I'm just like, oh, it's great. And it finds this balance of when you're going through the garage, when you're going through like the races, like, and the replays and stuff as well, of like they'll put like a heavy pop song in and then they'll just back it up with chill classical lounge
jazz
music.
Club music.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the soundtrack to this game since early 2022 because I turned it off.
Yes,
for streaming.
Partly the reason I turned it off was I thought I am going to make YouTube videos and content and stream this game, and I had a kid, so that didn't happen. But
no, I
forgot to turn it back on.
I also haven't heard any music in Gran Turismo since 2022 because the soundtrack in this game is horrendous. As soon as I heard vroom, 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 as soon as I heard that for the 5th time, I was like, good night, sweet prince. I do not want to hear Idris Elba. I don't want to hear smooth jazz club. It's not nice. It's awful. There are no iconic tracks in this game. And the one thing the Gran Turismo is famous for is the title screen song. But we went from Just a Day by Feeder to Idris Elba, and that is a downgrade I am not willing to persevere. I won't stand for it. The music in this game is horrendous. I like the smooth jazz, I'm not going to lie.
On the menu?
But no, I'd rather listen to engine sounds than the music in Gran Turismo 7.
I mean,
it's
the engine
too.
sounds and the diegetic stuff of the game does trump the, like, you know, that takes precedence over the score. It's beautifully balanced, and like when the race is happening, there's nothing else that you can hear about the race and the world and everything. Yep. I think it's just this. I'm so numb to everything like that. It's just background. Like when it is actually jazz club or Idris Elba or anything like that, it's background music for me now.
Yeah, no, I turned it off.
Again, it's like whenever I feel like, again, Death Stranding, I'm just like thinking about that. It's like you could just play the soundtrack in like your waiting room while you're doing stuff, and that soundtrack's banging as well. So I'm maybe just a bit more tuned into the licensed music in the game then.
Yeah, maybe. I remember the good old days where music was good.
It's hard to get past that because it had Just a Day, 7 Days in the Sun, and Buck Rogers by Fader, and it was just slamming,
non-stop, wall-to-wall bangers.
Hits, greatest Gran Turismo hits album from Gran Turismo 3 or whatever it was, but yes.
But yes, let's talk about the not so good stuff then, since two of the three of us don't like the music. The big thing I want to bring up, there's two things I really want to bring up here, and they're both pretty big. The user interface. Can I just say that the way you navigate through Gran Turismo is horrendous. Horrendous.
Do you mean in race or in menu?
No, I mean in like the menu
Both.
when you're going to pick races, when you go to pick, your
navigating
menus.
everything is horrific.
Like,
I'm
I
gonna
have-
double this.
I have 100 hours in this game, and last night, Cardinal, you was like, "Oh, have you ever tried paddock mode?" And I was like, "What is paddock mode?" It is a mode that is buried within menus upon menus upon menus upon menus. And you know what the worst part is? It's really good. It's really good, and I didn't
Just
know it
getting
existed.
there.
Even something as simple as word circuits. You're like, "Let's go to word circuits," and I was like,
How?
What's
Hi.
that?
100 hours, I should know how to do this, but I just don't. It is, to get anywhere in Gran Turismo 7, you have to click, 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 click.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, that's not where it is. Let's back out.
The one thing I thought was brilliant is like use the analog sticks to like
As a mouse?
navigate your little pointer, but you could equally just then go direction buttons and that'll automatically jump you to the next
I think
button and hover over it. Like it was such a quicker way to navigate, which is so backwards for modern gaming. Like analog sticks should be the way
for me, that is Gran Turismo 1, 2, had a fake mouse cursor that you moved around the screen and click on stuff. That's what they were going for with that. I've no doubt in my mind. It's just like a wee throwback to Gran Turismo 1, Gran Turismo 2. The thing about that was 97 and 99 respectively. We are 20 years into the future here, folks. I just don't like the menu system. It just doesn't stop, though, with finding things in Gran Turismo 7, which is hard. But its menus don't talk to other menus, so that may not make any sense. So I'm going to give you a contextual sort of example of what I mean.
Thank you.
You, as you do your daily marathon, you will always be rewarded with a 4-star raffle ticket. Now, the raffle ticket system, you can get a prize.
The raffle tickets.
So the prize can be a small amount of gold, a big amount of gold, a car part, or a car, or like a invitation to a dealer. And if you get the car part, let's say you land on a car part and it is sports suspension for a Renault Clio, and it just goes into your collection. And then you come back to it a week later and you need to upgrade your Renault Clio. So you go into the mechanic's garage and buy the sports suspension. But at no point will Gran Turismo 7 say, you already own this. It will take your 13,500 credits. So there's no like, you have this.
Well, there's no redeem function or like there's no way to. Yeah.
So to redeem it, you have to go into your garage, into the car, and then into own parts.
Okay.
Make it make sense. It's 2022 when this came out. It's 2025. I would like my menus to go, you already own this. You do not have to buy this. I get why that works the way it does, and it brings me on to my second complaint. This is a game as a service, and its primary purpose is to take money from you. Let's just be honest. The microtransactions in this game are gold. So if you're spending your in-game credits on car parts you already own, if the game doesn't tell you and you run out of credits, you're going to go to the shop, the PSN, and you're going to buy gold in order to get more credits, in order to get more parts. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The menu system really annoys me, like massively. It's a boring way of navigating the world of Gran Turismo 7. It's really boring. It's like faux mouse clicks, and it's just not good. Everything in it feels like, the best way I can describe the way navigating the menus in Gran Turismo is, it feels like every mode is its own individual game, and they've just took all these games and put them together in a world map, and it just feels weird in 2025 to navigate a game world like that.
User experience could do with a bit of an improvement. You were just
Massive
talking about the transactions. I think the end game economy is one that's hotly debated. I genuinely believe, right? The reason when you go to a second-hand car shop in the
Yep.
game, which is a separate menu to go into the car shops, which has multiple menus within it again, but the value of the second-hand cars are what they believe those cars are worth in markets based on their rarity and how hard it would be to buy them. And it means you have so many old cars that are worth like
Yeah.
300k that you're never going to buy.
Yeah.
And it's going to take you a long while to build up that money.
Yep.
You'll find lots of videos of people online on YouTube saying, hey, you can earn $1 million in just 1 hour.
Yeah.
And that is, you can earn $1 million in just 1 hour if you already have these fantastic specific cars and unlock these specific races, and you're actually really good.
Yeah. I have that written down. I have games as a service. Prices of everything in Gran Turismo 7 is extremely high. And then I've just got a bullet point under it. This is to sell you currency for real money. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Cardinal. When you redeem your raffle ticket for your daily marathon, it'll tell you what you've won, but it will show you underneath it, you've won this. And then to buy more, you can push down, click, it'll bring you to PSN to buy
way.
gold. It's wild.
don't
The
remember
raffle
that.
tickets, I can count on one hand the amount of cars I've won on those raffles. I don't have enough fingers and toes. I don't think there's enough fingers and toes in Ireland to tell you the amount of times I've won the smallest gold prize in those raffles.
The rate at which you only win the lowest amount is obscene. I think it's improved since launch, maybe, but you're talking like you earn a raffle, you do 26 miles in a day, or within a literal calendar day in game. You get a raffle ticket, and you will get it. It will spin around, and it'll give you 5,000 credits.
5,000. The fact that we know what the smallest amount of gold is tells you everything.
Yeah,
I don't
how
know what
much
the
time you
big pile
put
of gold
into
is.
it.
I have no idea.
I think I kind of, maybe if we're going to dump on this game just a little bit, just because we're at this point anyway, is that decision fatigue. I think I get with this game because I think there's just so much going on. Like, for you go from your tire pressure, your tire firmness, then all of your racing chips, all of your inner workings of the car. I think when I start to then look at that and think, oh, I'm going to maybe put a bit of time into this, and I'm like, I don't know where to go. I think that just, to someone like me, kind of puts me off then wanting to learn it, because there's so much with like you get that navigation maybe at the start in the cafe area, and then it basically just goes, well, we'll show you the basics, but you learn everything else then. And I suppose you have to just kind of learn it on the fly, like, but I find myself getting crippled with too much choice.
I've never gone into the details that much for any reason.
Okay.
Because I've never had to. I think it is optional, and there are races where you can, and cars that you can, and tune it within an inch of its life. And I think at one point there was an exploit where you could set the car level to so low that it would void itself or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I have this written down because this is part of the reason I stopped playing this. So yeah, you can go. I don't know if you're talking about like the granular car tuning, which is like a black screen with just numbers.
Yes.
And is that what you were talking about, Tomahawk? Or are you just talking about the parts?
Basic parts, and then the
parts.
Right. So that menu of the granular stuff where you can like customize your air pressure, your brake, and your type of oil in the car and all this here sort of business. The reason I stopped playing this in like 2024 was because that exploit Cardinal's talking about. So you could pump a massive engine into a Clio, for example. So you could put whatever engine you wanted into the Clio, and that would bump up your Clio's PP. But if you go into the granular stuff, you can exploit the life out of the PP level system, and you can take down a lot of stuff, and then you have this absolutely brutal car with a huge engine that has acceleration you're never going to match, and top speed you're never going to match in handling. So if you just take down everything other than acceleration, top speed, handling, and you had people annihilating tracks because they had exploited it, I don't think you can still do it. But in a game of the service, like exploits like that are game killers. Game killers.
I've done that regularly, where there's always 5 challenges in a week to do now, and that's how I've earned I've got like 10 million credits, and I've done that by keep doing the weekly challenges, but because I refuse to buy with real money.
Yeah, see.
But to complete those, I've had to use extreme cars and add ballasts and weights.
Yeah.
And then I've gone into the super tuning to add weights to the car, either to the front or the back, to lower the PP.
Yeah.
And then slightly detune the engine, but it's still way more powerful.
But your PP level now meets the classification, even though the car shouldn't.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good times.
But the whole system.
We've got to move in. We've got to move in.
The game as a service system, it has dictated a lot of the design philosophy behind Gran Turismo 7. None of it is game breaking, to be fair. It's annoying if you're not a wheel. Like, we clearly are, and refuse to spend real money on microtransactions. I really do. We can talk about the good side of it being a game as a service. This game in 2025 is not the same game it released in 2022. It's way better. It's got better. The updates for Gran Turismo are usually hefty. They're not as big now as what they used to be back at the start. There's a lot less like balancing stuff going on, but there's a lot of content that has been released for this game, and it's all been free. All free.
Yeah.
You know, there's been tracks at it, there's been regions at it, there's been cars, car parts, challenges, like the whole heap, and it's all been free. And that's great. But I will say, I don't think the updates for this have been as good as what Gran Turismo Sports were. Gran Turismo Sports always had cars and tracks, whereas with Gran Turismo 7, you get new tracks the odd time, but it's mostly just cars.
I think there's only been 2, maybe 1 track that's been added since launch.
Yeah.
So the idea that Spec 3 is coming out and adding 2 tracks
is huge.
Huge. It's taken 3.5 years.
But we're here. We're GT Sport level once Spec 3 comes out in December. So we are. But no, it as a game as a service, it can be exploitative if you allow it to be. So if you have very low self control when it comes to that, steer away from it. But I've never put a penny in above and beyond what I paid for Gran Turismo Sport. Or Gran Turismo, sorry. And I never will, and I've had a ball of it. 100 odd hours in it. But I think it's time. I think the engine's run out of oil here, boys. It's come down to the point where we have to put this on the patented high scores, high stakes tier list. And I'm going to go to Tomahawk first.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
S rank to D rank, where are you putting it?
Like, I like this game. I like this game a lot. But I just again, I think I get sort of bogged down in this like decision fatigue, and sometimes that will impact this heavily. So it is an A-tier game, in my humblest of opinions.
Yeah,
I just think if little less GT, little more Need for Speed.
You're never getting that.
I know. Like that's but Need for Speed Underground, that's like my bread and butter, I suppose. So I may hold racing games to this weird like standard, but I love this idea of just like building up my rapport and my like the cars that I do have. I have my bangers and I have my mid tiers, my hatchbacks, and all that kind of stuff. I'm loving that journey, and I love that that's what you don't get in like a Need for Speed title.
Yeah,
but it's an A-tier game. It's gorgeous. It plays perfect. Will it define my gaming experience for the next 10 years? Probably not, though.
Okay. Cardinal, you're up.
This for me suffers from its legacy and its history. But when I pull on a PSVR2 headset and the Gran Turismo Fanatec wheel is an experience like literally no other.
Yep.
And yet I still hark back to a nice old Sunday Cup. So that's why it's an A tier
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
for me.
I'm like you. I often, when I'm playing GT7, I find myself missing things that GT used to have that it no longer does. And Sunday Cups and just all the classification of different races, though, all of it, I miss the RPG elements of Gran Turismo. Totally. I think the menu system works. The menus work, and they're, to a point, really good fun, and it's a really good way of tutorializing Gran Turismo. I don't think it's fair to score a game on what it doesn't have. You have to score a game on what it does have. What it does have is great. For me, this is the best sim racer available on modern consoles. But it's a Gran Turismo game. There's been nearly 30 years of legacy here. I'm giving it an A tier. I think it's an A tier game.
I had us down for giving this like an S tier, like an ASS. And I'm disappointed in you two. I'm not gonna lie.
No, A tier. It's an A tier game. It's great. It's a great
really
game.
good.
Is it an all timer? No, but it hasn't dethroned Gran Turismo 3.
And it could be with a few different design choices.
Gran Turismo 8 is going to be a banger. That will be an all-timer. Will be an all-timer. But yeah, so what was that? 3? We're
3 A's.
3 A's?
Uniform, yeah.
Wow.
AAA.
Let's go. This is a AAA game. You know what else is AAA? The wrap-up section. So let's get there. And that is it, gentlemen. Another game of the month all wrapped up. And you know what next month is? It's October.
Spooky season.
It's spooky season. So it's only fair, appropriate that we play a horror game for next month's Game of the Month. And that is why October's Game of the Month is going to be Dead by Daylight. Cardinal's going to play a multiplayer horror game. Let's go.
This is the laugh, though. Our original pitch was to get Cardinal to play a spooky game a day for 30 days.
It was, yeah.
and then we just review his favorite one. But no, apparently he won't play spooky games unless we're all with him. So it's we're doing another multiplayer horror game.
If anyone wants to come hold my hand, I'm willing to. Please help.
Yeah, so October's Game of the Month is Dead by Daylight. So it should be good. It should be good fun. Dead by Daylight is a fun game.
Like, it's one of those ones I haven't put really any time into it originally. I think I'm just actually going to see if I can pull up my play stats on it now.
I used to stream Dead by Daylight.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
It's not giving me anything. I don't even think I have a play stat for this game, so that's going to be even fun. The learning curve alone is going to be something of a horror show for me. So
it is. It's a good game. It's not very complicated. It is very much like Ilphonic games, but way simpler and way less nuisance about it. I don't know what the community's like, but we'll find out in October when we review this game for Game of the Month. Can't wait. It's going to be good. And that all just leaves me to do then is just a wee recap of the housekeeping things I didn't say at the start. If you want to give us a 1-star to 5-star rating, please do that now. If you want to give us a written review, that's even better. And we'll even feature it on the homepage, which is highstakes.com. And if you want to support us, the easiest and best way of doing that is sharing this podcast with a family member or a friend who you think will enjoy it. And with all that being said, gentlemen, Game of the Month is done, and I have nothing left to say except I'll be Mr. Luvva Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes Game of the Month Club. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next month. Love you all. Bye.
Be the same.